Hey everybody, this is Marc Kusitor here, head chef / owner of ChopTime Catering, a modern Afro-Caribbean catering company in the GTA. I want to send a big thank you to Brampton Public Library for creating this opportunity in this space for chefs like myself to cook along with you. And thank you to you for taking home this kit and cooking with me today. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make Boulette, which is a traditional Haitian meatball dish made with beef and pork, served with a spicy Creole sauce. Follow along and let's do it. First things first, you want to get all your ingredients, starting with the Creole seasoning that came in your package. Chicken bouillon powder, readily available at most Asian grocery stores. Your 2% milk or heavy cream, I chose heavy cream today. Tomato paste, large green bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, Spanish cooking onion, 1 Scotch bonnet pepper, your cloves of garlic, half a bunch of parsley, and your sliced white bread. I chose focaccia today because it's what I had lying around, but any white bread will do. Here we have our ground meat, equal parts ground pork and lean ground beef. First step, to pour your milk into your bread. The goal with this is to hydrate and soak each piece of bread individually. This will help keep our meatballs tender and moist. This will also help soak up any seasonings or flavoring that you add to the dish. First step with the veggies, you want to cut out the tops and bottoms of your bell peppers and then cut straight down against the membrane and the seeds. We don't need the seeds or membrane as they'll add a bitter note to our dish and we don't want that. If you want to grab the tops, take out the stems, reserve the tops and bottoms for a seasoning base. We'll be making that later in the dish. To remove the membrane, press your knife up against the bottom of the pepper and slide gently across the top. Safety over speed in this situation. You want to go as slow as you need to go to make sure that you remove everything and don't hurt yourself. Once all the membranes have been removed, we're going to take the peppers and thinly slice them into strips. These strips are going to go into our sauce at the final stages of cooking. Repeat this process for your green bell pepper as well. Next up is our onion. You're going to cut through the skin on the top, cut through the tough root at the bottom. Separate your onion into 2 halves. For this dish, we'll only be using half of an onion. The other half, feel free to store it in the fridge for a later dish. Peel the skin off the onion and discard that. Next up, we're going to cut off the root and thinly slice this onion into strips as well. To do this, you want to follow the lines in the onion and just go according to that. Thinly slice till you get the desired thickness. So now as you can see, I'm separating it into 2 piles. One pile will be going into our sauce, the other one will also go into our seasoning base that we're going to be making. Next up is your parsley. You want to trim down the hard stems and the soft leaves. The hard stems will also be blended, the leaves will also be blended, but it's just better to cut them into smaller, more manageable pieces to ease it in the blender. Grab your parsley, wrap it into a tight bundle, and thinly slice. Again, safety over speed with this, as not to cut your fingers. Next up is another star of this dish, our épices or seasoning base. This is really one of the stars of the dish because it appears multiple times throughout and it will really set up the flavors. You want to get your bell pepper scraps into the blender, followed by a clove of garlic, your parsley leaves, stems and all, that remaining onion that you had, and any other vegetable scraps that you might have accumulated throughout this dish. Next, you want to pulse it into the blender until a chunky consistency. This will take a little bit of time. If you need to add some neutral oil, feel free. And this is the finished product of the épices. Green, beautiful, chunky. Next up, you're going to mix your meatballs. You want to add 4 tablespoons of a piece to your ground pork and beef. 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, you want to grab your Creole seasoning. This is going to add another layer of flavor. Throw that into the mix. Then you want to add your bread and cream mixture. Again, to help tenderize and absorb all the seasonings that we're adding. Salt and pepper to taste. The trick with making meatballs is you always have to taste. So after you've mixed it, make sure to grab a little piece, rip it off, fry it in the pan, and taste. Trial and error. Everyone's palate is different. Another trick with this is to not over-mix your meatballs. If you over-mix, you'll get a grainy, mealy texture in your finished product, but just lightly mixing it to combine, perfectly fine. After everything's mixed up, we're going to form them. I'm using a 2.5 ounce scoop, and that will yield 16 meatballs for your dinner. Once you scoop and form the balls, you want to put them in the fridge to set for about 3 to 5 minutes. Next up, get a pan hot over medium-high heat with some oil, get it right before smoking, and hard sear these meatballs. The goal here is to brown and what we call caramelize the two sides. You do not want to cook these meatballs in the center, you just want to form a nice golden, deep dark crust on the outside, which will help flavor the end result. Caramelizing the meat brings out the natural flavors and sugars in there, and it'll add a whole other layer to your sauce. After about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, you want to flip them and look right there. That's what we're looking for. You want to bring it just to the line before burning, to be honest with you. A deep, dark, golden crust. The deeper the color, the better, but do not let them burn. Next, we'll build our sauce. To build your sauce, in a separate pot over medium-high heat, throw your piece in there and quickly saute until fragrant. This should take you about 1 minute. After the piece has been sauteed, you want to add your onions and saute those until the onions turn just translucent and begin to cook. After that, you want to add your tomato paste and a Scotch bonnet pepper and continuously stir and cook. Add a little bit of Creole seasoning if you've got some. At this stage, you want to deglaze that pan with that 500 milliliters of hot water. I boiled mine in a tea kettle. If you want to use a pot, that's perfectly fine. I just find a tea kettle to be more convenient and easier. The trick is to pick up all the scrapings off the bottom because that's where all your flavor and cooked vegetables will lie. At this stage, you want to add your chicken bouillon powder. Once your sauce has come up to a boil, you want to add your meatballs back into the pan. Turn the heat down to a simmer. Make sure not to burst that Scotch bonnet pepper. If you want the flavor, not the heat, just allow it to simmer without bursting. Cover, and you want to cook this for about 20 to 25 minutes. 25 minutes, I've added my peppers, put back on the lid. And here we have it, our finished product. A reduced sauce, a nice glaze over the meatballs, flavorful, fragrant. Your whole kitchen will be smelling like the islands. Classic pairing with this dish is steamed white rice, so you can really soak up all the sauce and really get the flavors of the final product. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at ChopTime Catering. Thanks again to Brampton Public Library, and I hope you have fun cooking along with me. Thanks, and take care.